Hello, and welcome back to the Flask Full of Failure podcast. I have already fucked up the name. We're off to a great start. We are on episode number 6. Kind of making this way. Actually, as of right now, I have not at all worked on episode 5 because I have been moving. But I imagine by the time I get this one out there, I will hopefully have put episode 5 out too. So we'll hopefully make that work. But today, instead of talking about our normal thing, which is up until this point been video games, we're going to talk about something else in honor of the fact that Infinity War comes out in it's like 2 weeks now? Something like that?
Good question.
27th?
The 27th. What is it today?
The 14th.
The 14th as of recording this. So yeah, in like 2 weeks it comes out. So in honor of that coming out, I think we're going to do a 3-part podcast of basically going over the different phases up until the point that they've come out, and just discussing those and our feelings on all of that. So today we'll be talking about Phase 1. We'll also be kind of starting it out by talking about some of our favorite heroes from the MCU, and also what we think is going to happen in Infinity War, because I think by the time this is finished, Infinity War will have been well out, so I think hopefully we might be able to have a time where we all can talk about our feelings on Infinity War. We'll just, play it by ear. But that being said, I am your host, Logan, and today I'm joined by, as per usual,
I'm your not host, Scott.
And I'm your unhost, Taylor.
All right. I'm glad we got the unhost in here too. So we've covered all the bases.
The host and the anti-host.
Yes. I mean, to be fair, that's
destined to do battle in the end times.
Yes, I'm ready. I'm not ready. I'll be ready one day though.
You better be, you little bitch. Anyways.
So let's, I guess, just start by the simplest of things. Let's have a little discussion about our favorite Marvel characters. And we'll go specifically by, Marvel Cinematic Universe characters, so no adding X-Men in there as much as you might want to. I guess, Scott?
I was just gonna sit here and talk about Jubilee for 3 hours.
Please don't talk about Jubilee for 3 hours.
It's too late, it's happening now.
Oh no! That's another podcast for another time. We'll call it the Jubilee Circle Jerk, with no circles and no jerking. So,
and no Jubilee. So
yeah, it's basically just useless.
Boy, I'm excited for that.
Are you? I hope so.
You heard it here first. Episode 10 of this podcast will just be 2 hours of nothing.
Hooray!
It'll be the nothing cast.
I mean, to be fair, it's already 2 hours of nothing, because it's us talking.
That's fair.
All right, now yeah. So Scott, let's talk a little about your favorite of the Marvel Cinematic Universe characters.
All right, let's do that. Yeah. Let's see. Who do I like?
I'm also gonna put it as I'm gonna put one more justifying thing, or not justifying, whatever the word is I'm looking for. We don't have to necessarily put it at hero. It can just be your favorite character that's a main character, and not like, oh man, I liked extra number 5 in this one movie. So
like Hawkeye.
Hawkeye is in fact the 5th of the extras.
Yeah, you're right.
He's the leader.
He is the leader of the extras.
Amanda Fani. Let's see. I think Iron Man is probably my favorite.
That's interesting to me.
Probably. Well, obviously, we're talking about MCU, so I'm assuming that means that, we can assume, because I don't know how much of Iron Man's personality in the movies is
Accurate.
My brain can only say Tommy Lee Jones. What's his name?
Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Well, it's three names, and I couldn't. But yeah, Robert. I don't know how much of it is just like Robert Downey Jr. and how much of it is Iron Man.
Robert Downey
But
Jr. portrays Iron Man very well, according to the comics. So
okay, well, good because I think he's hilarious and sassy and stuff, and also, um, I do. I kind of like. I like his. Not that it's a particularly groundbreaking thing, but I like his how he like turns superheroing into a business, or not like superheroing per se, but it's like he has this business aspect of it, and he's not really like he doesn't even hide it from the beginning, right?
no, he's like the exact opposite of Bruce Wayne. Like Bruce Wayne is very rich and fights crime, but like he's not a pompous ass. He does not try and display himself in public that much, other than like kind of what he has to do. And he never talks about the fact that he's Batman.
Right. So he's kind of like. Actually, now that I think about it, Batman and Iron Man are pretty similar in
They
that
are in a
regard.
lot of
Like
ways.
they're both like dudes that are just making use of the tools that they have and the money.
Yeah, Batman's just much more dark and brooding, and I don't know, has some actual issues. But we could get into a whole discussion on that later
Iron
at some
Man
other
has
point.
no issues.
I mean, he has tons of issues. Just it's not like his don't worry me quite as much. Like
Right.
I think about Batman, and like my first thought process is like he might need to seek some help. Iron Man, it's like he's a pompous ass, but like he's just a pompous ass. It's not like, you know,
Right.
he dresses up in a mechanical suit because it protects him and keeps him safe, not because he was like, I was once attacked by a metal suit, so I donned the metal suit to go fight crime.
By metal suit. What was
When
Bruce
fairs are
Batman
really
attacked by a
awkward.
bat?
I actually think there is like actually a thing of with Batman where like he was. This is from something I read like a long time ago when I was little, and I don't think I've ever forgotten about it. But it was like he wasn't attacked by a bat, but he like either saw a vision of like a giant bat flying into his house or something. It scared the shit out of him. He's like, I'm gonna conquer my fears, and I'm going to become that bat kind of thing.
Well, yeah, 'cause I remember there being like a panel from like one of the really old original Batman comics where he's just like sitting in his den thinking about being a superhero, and then a bat swoops in. Because that's the thing that happens. Bats
It's not,
just
it
swoop
wasn't
into
just
your
a
house.
fucking standard bat though. It was like a giant demon bat,
Yeah,
and
the big bat flies in, and he's like, "Oh shit, I'll be that."
not
Bats are
even.
scary.
It wasn't even fucking man bat. It was just a giant bat.
It was just a bat.
Yeah, not man bat. Still silly, but we have fucking derailed this fast this time around.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Fucking 30 seconds, and we're already talking about Batman.
I've now granted I haven't seen all the movies. There's a large possibility that I would like Doctor Strange.
He's pretty
I
great.
think.
Doctor Strange is pretty great.
But,
Doctor Strange starts off as like the biggest of assholes, though.
He's like Tony Stark without the charisma.
Yeah. He's like, I'm a surgeon, and then he drives too fast on a road and breaks his fucking hands, and he's like, my hands. And I'm like, don't drive fast on the road then, dumbass.
My hand.
And then he becomes a magic man
Yeah.
and fucks with Dormammu. Anyways, continue, Scott.
Yeah, the other thing about Iron Man is like I'm pretty sure I think it might actually be the first Marvel movie I saw, which actually looking at this list, it was the first one, period. So that would make sense, I guess. Or not the first one in the phase or whatever of the MCU, I suppose.
The first phase of the MCU was the beginning of the MCU, so Iron Man was the
Okay.
actual first Avengers movie.
Is that
Or,
so? Is that
Avengers.
like part of the reason why he's kind of at the center of everything?
That, and he does have a lot to do with comic books. Like once we get to phase 2, phase 3, we'll talk about Civil War and how I like and hate that movie at the same time. But yeah, he's a big factor in that because the whole plot of Civil War was an actual comic book, which involved a lot more people than just the other one. It was just an Avengers thing of like, Tony believes that heroes should have to register and Cap believes that they shouldn't have to register. And it's this whole big thing, but he's a big part of that, and he has a lot to do with the founding of the Avengers too. He kind of spearheaded it with Nick Fury.
Yeah, and also just from a general like financial and sort of planning stage, the first Iron Man movie was definitely like the foundation for all the other ones. A lot of the later movies kind of, especially the individual ones for individual heroes, kind of reflect Iron Man in sort of their arc.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Man was a very much a risk at the time.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, maybe this will work.
Actually, looking at the list, it took 2 years for this to get off the ground. Like Iron Man was in 2008, and apparently it was like a super big success. And like Incredible Hulk, I don't count because like kind of it's canon in the same universe, but like nobody ever talks about the Incredible Hulk movie.
Mm-hmm.
But then Iron Man 2 wasn't until May 7th of 2010. So it was 2 years later before they even started making it, a bigger thing.
Yeah, I think from the Incredible Hulk, I think the only thing that carried over was
Sad
I
family.
think that. And also what's his name?
Ruffalo?
Ross.
Oh.
Mark Ruffalo wasn't in the Incredible Hulk movie.
That's what I thought. So I was like, that's why I was like,
he was cast for the Avengers, which was kind of strange, but I feel like it worked out in the end.
Doctor. All right.
No, why you're
Ignore
doing
it.
this by phases? Stop talking about Doctor Strange.
Is there more to that, Scott? Is more reason to?
I don't think so. Also, the first Iron Man movie is kind of an enigma to me because my brain has like attempted. I don't remember a lot of the beginning of it, and so my brain has pieced together how the beginning went, and I have like so many questions and confusions based on the beginning of the movie. Probably due to the fact that the first time I saw Iron Man was on a young bus back in like 2009 when we were going on a field trip to an aquarium. So
it's fair. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, I'm kind of hazy on certain parts of Phase 1, so this is going to be a interesting adventure. But yeah, it's funny because most of the time when I talk to people about, like favorite Marvel heroes, Iron Man is not one of them. I don't mind Iron Man. I think he's all right. I think RDJ makes him he does a good job with Iron Man, but at the same time, like also like the pompousness of him gets to me sometimes, which I also think is part of. I think it's part of the character, but it's still just like sometimes I'm like you're hamming it up a little bit too much there, bud.
No.
So, yeah, no. Taylor, who's your favorite?
My favorite. I don't know. I've always had the unfortunate like thing where I don't care too much about any of the core Avengers, like the ones in the original Avengers movie. Like I like all of them fairly equally, but I'm not like, oh, I'm the biggest Captain America fan boy. I don't know. Loki's kind of my boy. I like Loki a lot. I relate to him. I can't do the hair, but
I like
the sneaky, tricksy villain who isn't just. I feel like the problem with a lot of the Marvel. I forgot the name of the fucking comic company. Marvel movies. The problem with a lot of their villains is they're just the hero, but evil. Like in the original Iron Man, there's the Ironmonger. Even in like the latest Black Panther, Killmonger is just
literally just another Black Panther.
Is an orange Black Panther by the end. And then the Winter Soldier, even though the Winter Soldier is a pretty good movie and Bucky's great. Spoilers. I like that Loki is not just an evil version of Thor. He's like an actual foil where he's like very different and operates in different ways.
Which I think is funny because you just hit one of the biggest problems I have with the MCU on the head, which is too many clones.
Oh, yeah,
Too many.
The villain is just the hero, but different.
The
He's got
hero,
his-
but like evil or something.
Yeah, not to. I like Black Panther a lot, but when I saw in the trailer that there's an evil dude in a Black Panther suit, it's like, oh great. Here we go again.
It's just gonna be who's the better Black Panther kind of
Mhm.
deal.
Yeah, I like Loki a lot. I also
Yeah.
kind of like Scarlet Witch. She's cool.
I keep forgetting about her. Holy shit. She's like, yeah, her and Vision like are existent, but they're like, ha ha ha, you get to wait to see them so that we can destroy everything later.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if they kind of have to sit out in the Civil War movie because they'll just they'll just win the fight. But yeah,
I like
and
Loki for the reason that he follows mythology in a lot of ways. In the first Thor movie, he just seems like a bitch, and the following Thor movies, he becomes much more of a unique character. He gets kind of his own, like, you can feel the fact that he has real emotions and that he's not just like a I don't know, he's not just evil for the sake of being evil. He's a trickster god, which is his whole point in mythology. And in mythology, him and Thor aren't enemies, but they're not friends either. And Thor just kind of understands that, like, this is how Loki is. Now, granted, Thor in mythology is also a hulking, just simpleton, basically. He's only intelligent to such an extent, and then he's just kind of like me smash, and it's like, chilled Thor. But,
well, it's like Zeus is the same way, except just me fuck.
you're not wrong. Yeah, no.
Thor... I read not to
Don't
add
derail.
another derailment in here, but I read something the other day that was like, wait a minute, you guys think that all these stories of Zeus fucking everyone is just like the universe's first doujinshi?
Oh my god.
Please don't talk about doujinshi in this
Continue.
Christian Marvel movie podcast.
Christian Marvel movie podcast. Yeah, we've hit that point. The Christian Marvel movie podcast where we're talking about Norse gods. Yeah, I like Loki because I think he actually has more than just the like standard I'm a villain arc, although I can find him to be a whiny bitch sometimes, especially like in the first movie. What do you mean I was adopted? I'm so upset about this. I'm gonna ruin everything. And I'm like, okay. Sorry, Taylor.
What?
I was just insulting Loki. But like hardcore insulting Loki.
Yeah, it's fine.
Loki.
He is a bitch.
You suck, Taylor.
He is a bitch. That's why I like him.
Fair enough.
I relate.
Yeah. Bet you guys can guess who I'm going to talk about.
Is it Thor?
You're fucking wrong. It's Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
I fucking love Spider-Man. I actually do. I like Thor a lot, but I don't necessarily like the Thor in the MCU as much as I like A, comic book Thor, and B, actual mythology Thor. I like Thor a lot. You're talking to a man who's probably going to get Mjolnir tattooed on him at some point in his life, and has like a huge boner for Vikings for some reason. But yeah, no, Spider-Man's still my fucking favorite. Spider-Man has always been my favorite. I've always loved him from like, I'm talking like before the MCU was a thing. I loved Spider-Man. The comics, the not so great Sam Raimi movies. I never watched the Amazing Spider-Man ones because I never got around to it, basically. I heard they were okay. Fairly good, but not the best thing ever. But the original Spider-Man with William Dafoe, I love that one. I love the second one's really good too. The third movie we don't talk about because it's not good.
I mean, it's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, they tried
potential potential memes is what I mean.
Yeah. Well, they
Sure.
they. Oh, you're talking about emo?
I'm
Emo
talking
Tobey
about
Maguire.
evil Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Evil Spider-Man just dancing down the street.
Emo Tobey Maguire.
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean, I think the movie did have actual potential. I think the problem was they got too excited and tried to introduce too many villains at one point. Like, had you stuck with just Sandman or had you stuck with just Venom, you would have had a much better story. But I think they were like, let's go check out what's happening on the Sandman camera. All right, now the Venom camera. All right, now the Sandman camera. I think somebody else was involved in that one too. That's just too many people to keep track of in a 2-hour movie.
I genuinely forget who else is in that movie. I
I
feel like there was
completely
something
forgot
else.
Sandman was in that movie.
Yeah, and Sandman's the main
Yeah.
fucking villain. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You see where Spider-Man 3 fucked up now. The first two were
Venom doesn't show
really
up until
good.
the end.
Yeah, and Venom
Because
Venom
it was
gets
also that the dynamic with what's his bitch and
Oh, it was
Fighting and,
Hobgoblin.
like,
It's New
Hobgoblin?
Goblin. I just looked it up. It's New Goblin. He's not Hobgoblin in this.
Yeah, Harry like loses his shit and gets all mad and has amnesia and tries to kill. We need to stop talking about this one. Not that we actually need to.
James Franco is not Hob. He is New Goblin.
Holy shit, I forgot that was him. I totally forgot that was. I have to go watch these movies again.
No, you don't.
I think Mitchell brought them from his house. They're in my apartment now. I'm excited. I can't wait to go watch these again. Man, I get to relive my childhood. That was the first ever PG-13 movie I watched. I remember. Because they came out when I was like 12, maybe. Not 12, like
Way to
10.
start.
Oh, you started early.
I did. That
You
was
A
the
precocious little boy.
I was gonna say
watching PG-13 movies when he's 11.
I mean, that was the first PG-13 movie that my dad took me to. I may have been like 9. I was young, and my dad was like, "We can go watch this movie," and I was like, "Hell yeah!" But yeah, and then there was the Amazing Spider-Man, which was the Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, and I didn't watch those, but they seemed okay. I've heard people say that they were all right. I have not really heard much of bad about them, but those existed too. And then there was the Spider-Man Homecoming, and I think what's the actor's name? Tom something?
John Cena.
Yeah, it was John Cena.
Tom Holland.
Yeah, Tom Holland. Tom Holland did a good job with Spider-Man, I think. He got the wittiness and the nerdiness like down, and I think he did a good job with it. But I've always liked Spider-Man. I also like the fact that Spider-Man in any situation with the Avengers is the Avengers are like, no, Spidey, you're too young to be an Avenger. We can't have you come out risking your life. Then Spider-Man saves everybody, and they're like, "Oh, thanks, Spider-Man." He's like, "Can I be an Avenger now?" And they're like, "You're still too young, Peter."
He's like,
It's the Phantom Menace all over again. Or wait, no, Attack of the Clones.
But yeah, it just ends up being that back and forth repeatedly, where he's just like, "Guys, I saved everybody's ass again for the 7th time. Can I please be a fucking Avenger?" And they're like, "You're still too young, Peter. You've got a lot to learn." He's like, "Guys, 6th time I've saved your ass. Please just let me be an Avenger." They're like, "Nah, bruh."
no.
And then he doesn't take it when Tony offers it.
Yeah, look. Hush.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I feel like there aren't a hell of a lot of good villains, though. I don't know. Ultron was stupid.
No. Let's talk about phase 1 villains.
Well, before we get into that, I do want to get to one thing, and this is predictions for Infinity War. Mostly because everybody on the fucking internet has been like, people are gonna die in this. I'm like, yes, they are. We're losing actual Marvel characters now. Which I've had.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Like, why does everyone think that?
Because it's a very natural thing to happen in the comics, and they won't announce the name of the 4th Avengers movie because it's a huge spoiler for Infinity War. Which means
Wait, is Infinity War not the 4th Avengers movie?
no. So basically, it was the Avengers, which is the first one. Then you have Age of Ultron, and now you have Infinity War, and then there's going to be a 4th one.
Civil War was technically a Captain America movie, despite essentially
That's
being
right.
despite
Yes.
essentially being
Okay.
Avengers 3.5.
2.5. You said 3.
Yep.
It's confusing. Yeah, that's basically the joke Mitchell and I make all the time. Is that every time I talk about Civil War, I'm like, you mean Avengers 2.5? It's like, yes, that one. Or he says that. One of us says it. So yeah, this is going to be the third Avengers movie, and then the next one is going to be the fourth one. But they won't release the name of it because it's going to be a big spoiler. And people online have been like, wow, like I'm scared of what this is going to be. And the like writers for it are like, you fucking should be.
Just like Avengers 4, Tony Stark is dead. That's the title.
I feel like it's going to be something like, and this is from my own personal, like, my knowledge of the comics and my, like, understanding of what happens with Thanos kind of thing is, I imagine it's going to be something like Avengers Death of America or something like that, because Cap's going to fucking die.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to be something fairly major because it's not going to be like Avengers 4, oh no, Happy Hogan is dead. Like, it's going to be something that people actually recognize.
Yeah, because like in the so in the comic books, to explain this a little bit more, Scott, the comic books at some point, Captain America dies, and the guy who's Falcon takes over as Captain America. So like that happens in the comics. I'm pretty sure Iron Man's gonna die. Like just straight up, Iron Man's gonna be dead.
Oh,
it's hubris.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be the thing too. Is that I imagine a lot of people are going to be upset in the after the Avengers Infinity War because they'd be like, "Oh, my favorite characters are dead. You can't just kill an Avenger." And I'm like, "Bitch."
It's gonna be like the 6th Harry Potter movie all over again.
did they kill the Avengers in the Harry Potter?
Yeah, it was really
It's a
really strange crossover situation.
Also
from the future.
One of my favorite things though is that like people on Twitter are making fun of the whole fact of like everybody keeps calling Infinity War the most ambitious crossover, and I'm like, it's not that ambitious. Mostly,
it's become a meme at this point.
Well, yeah, and it also wasn't ambitious in the first place because it's literally what they've been working up to since like the original Avengers. They have been working up to this and intentionally creating this to be one big giant fucking crossover by the end, from the very beginning mostly.
Mm-hmm. And so you're saying it's not ambitious in that it's not a massive leap up from where they were. It's just been like a natural upward incline towards it.
Yeah, they've been working on this for years. Literally since 2008, 10 years ago, they've been working on this film basically. And so
it's interesting. So that brings up something interesting. Is like the way it seemed to me, and now that you mentioned it, this is probably not how it went. It always seemed to me like the whole MCU thing was an afterthought. Like it seemed like everything before the first Avengers movie was just completely separate, and they never had any intention of bringing it together until the Avengers movie. And then everything post Avengers was like, all right, well now everything has to be tied together, because like in every movie before the Avengers, there were no like in Iron Man it was only Iron Man, in Captain America it was only Captain America, and then after that like maybe not Iron Man 3, but like
I'll put it at I think Iron Man 2 is where the whole idea of a cinematic universe started. I think what happened was they made Iron Man originally, and it was kind of a jump out there for like because I mean in the late 90s, early 2000s, everybody was making fucking superhero movies and they weren't good. Because I'd like to remind you that fucking Daredevil existed, and that's not a good movie. That's fine. That's a thing, because yeah, that was not fun. And so Iron Man was kind of something that they put out there that wasn't necessarily like as far as its like kind of creation, it was very much like kind of doomed to fail. But it did really well. And I think after that did well, they ended up deciding we're going to make Iron Man 2. So they made Iron Man 2, and I think at the start of Iron Man 2, that's where they decided we're going to start running everything together. slowly, but we're gonna start running everything together.
I mean, in the very first Iron Man movie, they definitely did hint at the greater cinematic universe with the first of the post credit scene that has kind of become like a staple of the movies. Because in that one, it's when Nick Fury shows up and is like, "Yo, you want to be part of Shield?" And he's like, "Yes." Or you want to be part of the Avengers Initiative? And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, I do."
Also, the name of Captain America's first movie is literally Captain America, the First Avenger.
Did not know that.
Yeah. Um, but I mean, yeah, I think originally it wasn't meant to be as big of a thing, and I think once they realized what they had the capability of, they started to build it onto each other. But it's just the whole point that I was getting at is just like it's the whole this is the most ambitious crossover, and it's like it's not really all that ambitious in my head.
It was ambitious at the time of its creation. It's not ambitious right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, it's not like, I guess when you're saying ambitious, you're thinking like it's this big step up from all the other ones.
Yeah, that's
whereas now it's just kind of like the natural climax of it, which I imagine if you like took it out of context, it's a pretty big deal. I don't think there's ever been like this many superheroes in a single film before. So in terms of that, it's the biggest one, but I don't know if it's like a massive jump.
Yeah. I'm not, I mean, it's not to say that it's not going to be something like big or amazing, and I'm going to have my problems with it, which I'm one of my biggest problems with the Marvel movies right now is the fact that, like, while I understand the point is to be this big thing of trying to make it to where everything connects, I also hate that at the same time. Like, it's really cool and a really good idea, a really like neat idea, but at the same time, it's like, all right, you're trying, like, if I watch a movie that's like, let's say I just jump into one of the later movies, I might have no fucking idea what's going on because certain things in there is like you have to have watched the entirety of all however many movies there are to comprehend this part, and it's like I don't want to necessarily have to do that. Sometimes I want to enjoy a movie as a standalone movie. And a lot of these,
it's like if someone really liked Iron Man and they watch Iron Man 1 and 2 and then they get to Iron Man 3 and they're like,
yeah.
What's all this then?
Yeah, let's see. There's 12. I mean, we're looking at 18-ish movies that are out right now. About 18 movies, and you have to watch all of them to get every subtle nuance that exists in it. So,
yeah. It's a lot of movies.
I don't necessarily like that part of it. I still think they're great. I still think they're good. My girlfriend's biggest favorite character is like one of my least favorite characters because I just don't really care about him. Which
one is that?
Captain America.
Oh, he's the leader. He's the main character.
I don't hate him. I just don't. That's a whole bunch either.
I mean, that's a protagonist for you.
Yeah, I think Infinity War is going to be good. My other big quarrel and one of my biggest quarrels with it is coming from a filmmaking standpoint, which is God, the action scenes suck in these movies. Like, they don't suck, but they also suck.
I mean,
what a statement.
Okay, the editing in them
not only are you presenting what, I mean, I don't know if it is or not, what is probably a controversial opinion, you have also negated what you said as soon as you said it.
The editing in the action scene is absolutely fucking garbage.
Oh.
They're big, giant adventures where we're following different people around, and it is nothing but cuts every couple of seconds. I understand that, like, you're trying to make this seem crazy and big, but, like, cutting every couple of seconds is a lazy way to edit action scenes. One of the Taken movies did it, and I despised it because it's like as somebody who does some film work, it's like you notice cuts a little bit more. I don't know if you're that way, Scott, where you're a little bit more aware of cuts than I would say the normal person is.
Not if I'm not unless I'm intentionally watching it and looking for it. I tend to like. I'm good at like. Suspension of disbelief isn't applicable in this situation, but like if I sit down to enjoy something, I can like not pay attention to that. I can turn that part off.
Right. Yeah, I don't have that option, which sucks. I will watch a movie twice, and usually it's because first time I go in trying to shut off my critic side of the brain, because it's like trying to shut off I do some film stuff and I'm trying not to think about it in the making a film kind of thing and where the sins are kind of
DAE film stuff.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. And then in the second time I watch it, I go more for the critical viewing of seeing where things are wrong, seeing what kind of things are a little bit over the top, where the editing was really good, really bad, that kind of thing. But one of my main things is like, as far as action sequences go, I like a very continuous shot with action. And the problem I have with a lot of the Avengers action or any of the Marvel action is that it's like, look, Captain's about to throw a punch. Let's cut to like the behind the enemy's face where he's getting hit. All right, now let's go back to cutting to another part of Captain's punching another dude. All right, this guy got hit in the face, so we're cutting to another shot. And it's like, oh my God, this is too much.
I think, and this is coming from a place of ignorance, but I think a lot of that might be due to it's like the one Michael Bay part of the movie where the fight scenes are the things that draw in the people, you know, like there's a lot of people that probably go to those movies and just like zone out or text on their phones until the fight scenes come in, and all they want to see is their favorite character punch someone else.
And that's I don't have a problem with the action scene. I would love to see an action scene if it was shot more like an action movie. And that's the point I'm making, is that it's like if you can do continuous shots where you have action, where you have somebody fighting one-on-one, or you have a one person against an entire army, you don't have to cut every time somebody throws a punch. And that's more of what I mean. That's I
meant more like because they're not all fighting in the same place, so like cutting between like Captain America and Iron Man is inevitable and stuff.
Yeah, my point was more of, it was like the Captain throws a punch, and you, right when he's about to hit the guy in the face, you cut to a shot from behind the guy who's getting punched by Cap, falling back, and you cut back to behind Cap, and he punches another dude. You cut behind that dude, and it's like it's been like a total of like 5 seconds in the thing, and you've already cut about once per second kind of thing. Does that make more sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to make action seem more, I don't know,
chaotic, frenetic.
Yeah, you want to make it look like more is happening than is actually happening. Whereas, you know, if you actually make an action set, you have, you know, people who are trained. And it does take more time. I get that too. But it's just kind of like I want to see more action that's more like actual action, and more, you know, people kind of rehearsed it and went over it and choreographed it, rather than just we had Chris Evans throw a punch towards some guy, and right before he hit his face, he stops, and we cut there so that it looks like he made impact with his face but didn't actually. That's
and it's and also just because of the sort of nature of the massive crossover films of having a bunch of different heroes, and just sort of how superheroes tend to fight, in which there's not really a lot of finesse to it. It's just kind of hitting each other or shooting laser beams. Fight scenes in Infinity War could definitely run the risk of being massive, ugly clusterfucks,
which I'm not looking to.
But hopefully they realize that, and will give enough time to each character so it's not just a bunch of flashing lights flying across the screen.
Somebody pointed this out that I was another podcast that like made me laugh, was like in the original Avengers, they have like all these people, like these big bad superheroes and stuff coming down and posing, and then you have Black Widow with her fucking gun, and it's like, what fucking good is that gun gonna do against is it the Chitauri? Is that who was in the first one? Or am I the Chitauri in the first one, right? They're the
Yes.
yeah. It's like
That
what
is what
fucking
the aliens are called.
yeah. It's like what fucking good is your gun gonna do against them? Like you have Iron Man who has literal fucking like beam cannons in his thing. You have Thor who is the god of thunder and has a fucking unbeatable uh hammer until hell comes along. Hella, whatever the hell they want to call her. And then you've got, Captain America, who's a super, fucking super soldier, and Hulk, who is just the embodiment of rage. And then Black Widow, who just like drops down and is like cocks her gun. It's like the fuck.
I feel like you very intentionally forgot Hawkeye again.
Oh shit, that's right. Hawkeye's there. Everybody keeps making these opinions that Hawkeye's gonna die in Infinity Wars because he's not in any of the trailers and nobody sees anything of him. I think it's just honestly that like everybody forgets about him. Like even the creators of the Marvel Cinematic Universe forget about him.
I mean, he was pretty important in Age of Ultron. He was like the emotional core because he was the only one who wasn't a massive fuck up and just had a family he liked.
Again, when we get to Age of Ultron, we're gonna talk about Age of Ultron, but I don't remember that film, and I've watched it. I've watched it multiple times.
You don't remember?
No, I do remember. I just don't.
Oh,
it was unimpactful on me,
yeah.
And that's what I remember about it. I'm like, Age of Ultron. The fuck happened in that film again? Like I remember the important bits that like were part of the main series, but like when I think about it, I'm like, so what happened in that one again? All
right, dead air. Let's do this.
Oh yeah, that was. Thank you for saving that because I realized it was there and I was like, panic, panic, panic.
Okay.
So the
Are we okay? Did Ultron
fucked us up. Ultron put a blank space in my head and I can't get back from it. I was talking about something else and I was trying to get back to what I was talking about. Oh, it was Hawkeye. I'm forgetting about Hawkeye. Oh, yeah. I can't wait in Infinity Wars when we're just sitting there watching everybody go up against Thanos and you just fucking see Black Widow with their fucking gun or something. I was like, Black Widow, seriously, go away. Not like you're not a badass and don't have cool moments, but like, no.
So. I saw like a post or something that was like, guys, I figured it out. I know how the Infinity Wars is only going to be 10 minutes long. Ant-Man just has to shrink Thanos' gauntlet so that he can't put it on anymore. Problem solved.
Oh, that was
not even a huge like amount, just slightly smaller. It's like 2 sizes too small for him now. He's like, shit, I can't use this.
When you said that, I thought you were going to say the thing where somebody said all Ant-Man's got to do is shrink down really small, crawl into Thanos' butthole and grow big again. And I was like, I mean,
he could do that also.
That's actually what Infinity War is going to be. I was reading through some theories about like who was going to die, and then at one point somebody was like, it was going through all the list of people who were going to die, and somebody was like, well, of course Thanos is going to die, and I'm like, you're fucking wrong, but all right. Like I'm pretty sure what's going to end up happening is the way the movies are going to be separated is Infinity War is going to be let's fight Thanos. Thanos beats the shit out of them, and the 4th movie is going to be them taking down Thanos. That's my prediction. Maybe that's not right, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. I have a strong feeling about that. Because if he died,
yeah. I was just gonna make another snarky joke. It's like Avengers 4. How will we continue without War Machine?
Oh no, not Don Cheadle.
Like his legs already don't work, so.
No, they showed in one of the films that he was working in.
Well, in the end of Civil War. Anyways, that's not the movie we're talking about.
All right, so now that we've made some like terrible predictions on Infinity War, and we'll be able to immediately correct those, and I'll sit there and talk about how great it is, and probably disappoint disappoint Haley because she's gonna like go watch that with me, and she's gonna be like, "What did you think about it?" And I'm probably gonna be like, "It was really good, but here are my problems with it." And she's gonna be like, "Shut up," and I'm like, "Got it."
There's too many cuts. There's too many cuts.
I'm probably gonna say that, and she's gonna be like, "What do you mean?" And I'm be like, "Don't worry about it." Let's move into phase 1 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So as we said, Marvel Cinematic Universe all started with Iron Man, which is a film that I remember and don't remember at the same time.
So here I would like
it
to
was
pose...
10 years ago.
It was 10 years ago. Holy crap. I know because I got my tetanus shot that year, and I need to get my booster this year. So, all right. The beginning of Iron Man. So here's something that I never, and I was talking to Ray about this the other day, and he also couldn't really remember. So I think maybe no one can remember, but
yes,
so
you and Ray are the only people on the planet who know things.
This is correct. So after he, like the thing blows up, he gets kidnapped or whatever. They throw him in the sex dungeon, and then
That's not what it is, but okay.
And then, so he wakes up. So this is where things start to get fuzzy for me. So he wakes up in the sex dungeon, and he had like the car battery arc reactor in him, right?
I think he made that before he disappeared, or before he got kidnapped or something like that.
Wait,
no, it was his mentor dude. Was it like Jensen or something?
Okay.
The other captain who was there. He's the one who made his electromagnet. He's his friend.
Why was he in the sex dungeon with him? Was he in the car when it got blown up?
Oh god, I forget why Jensen is there. I think he's just like a fellow captive.
I think they were both like
who was just a doctor that has been taken captive by the terrorists.
I think they were both like POW situations.
Yeah,
I think it was like they took Tony because the Stark name was already really big. Because if you go back to the first Captain America movie, you remember that his father was also a really big name, and he did a lot of science stuff. So it was probably like they took Tony because he was the son of a billionaire philanthropist kind of deal, and the other guy probably because he was a doctor, and they wanted to be like, these are valuable hostages kind of thing.
Okay, so they just happened to be in there at the same time, because I remember, here was my like perception of it was, he wakes up in that dungeon, he has the car battery arc reactor in his chest. Some random dude is there with him and made the car battery thing, and then him and this random dude, like the terrorists were like, we want you to build us a bomb or something, and instead of building a bomb, he makes the real arc reactor, and somehow they don't notice this, and then something happens to the random dude. And so there were just like a lot of pieces of the puzzle missing. I was like, who was that guy? Why did he know how to make an electromagnet?
I don't know. Was it him that made it originally, or did like Tony kind of lead him through?
I'm pretty sure Tony woke up with it, because I remember like Tony, and again, my memory is flawed, but I remember Tony like wakes up and the guy's like, oh, hello, finally awake are we, child? And it's like, oh, make sure you don't remove that car battery, because there's a piece of shrapnel and it's going to stab your heart.
Man, that's like
okay.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen the third movie. That's why the third movie pissed me off, because they were like, it is literally inoperable. And then the third movie, they're like, all right, we operated, got it out. It's like, fuck you. It's like, that's the whole point of it. The whole point is he has to wear the fucking arc reactor because it's a... anyways.
We fixed it.
Like, that whole infixable thing, well, we fixed it. And it's like, guys, okay, fuck it, whatever, who cares? We fucking retcon this. I don't give a shit. We had to make something more interesting about Tony Stark, and I was, fuck you.
I mean, it is just one of those things where it's like, is it really inoperable? Like with the literal magic, like Vision can't just reach his hand into his chest and just pull the pieces out. Like,
yeah. So then he made was it Mark 1? The fucking the Iron Giant, basically.
Yeah, the dumpster suit.
So, like, how did the terrorists or whoever kidnapped them? How did they not notice this happening?
It's a
It's
dumb
not like-
superhero movie, Scott. They just didn't notice he was making a robot suit instead of a bomb.
Honestly, I don't even remember. Like the terrorists that kidnap him ever show up again? Like, did they ever like go in to check on them, or they were just like, "Hey, we have some fucking prisoners." The end. We have them. They're ours
Well,
now.
yeah, 'cause-
Who
well, they were
needs to
trying to
watch
get-
them?
They were trying to get them to like build
Oh.
one of like because the whole thing was like his missile system or whatever, right?
Oh, right.
Oh,
'Cause
I
That's what he
guess.
did. That's what he demonstrated in the beginning
it-
before he was
Is
captured.
this really necessary? Oh yeah, I need the giant robot to operate the missiles.
Well,
Yeah.
didn't they show
Oh,
scenes of him
okay.
like hiding the stuff too, though? Like they
Mhm.
Maybe.
showed scenes of being like, all right, well he's kidnapped, but like also like here we are working on this kind of thing. Oh look, we hear people coming. Let's go like shove that under the bed or something.
That's true.
Hide your porno mags for mommy, kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
But
So it was basically like a Count of Monte Cristo, Abe whatever situation.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
That's basically who Yinsen was. Like he
Yen
he
Sid?
was Yinsen. That's his name. Not Yin Sid. Get out of here with your Kingdom Hearts.
I'll have you know, Yen Sid is originally from the fucking Mickey book where he turns the brooms into people.
It's just
And-
Disney backwards.
I'm aware.
Okay. Anyways, but no, Yinsen is like his mentor and everything, and he
Right.
is just a random dude. He's a doctor who's also captured by.
Did Tony Stark need a mentor at that stage of his life?
He needed someone to be like, you can do this on your own and use this technology for good.
Well, he was the shitty kind of person at that point. Like, not that he became less shitty exactly, but like he was the shitty kind that was like, I'm rich, so instead of doing anything useful with my life, I'm just gonna go around and sleep with women and throw my money
Yes.
around that my dad gave me.
Yes, and sell missiles to terrorists.
Yeah,
Not
'cause
to
he-
terrorists, but he's an arms dealer.
Yeah, because who gives a shit kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
And then Yinsen's
Yeah.
like, no, with my dying breath. Spoilers to a 10-year-old movie. He's like, yo, do good. And Tony's like, okay, I will.
Tony's like, my life has been changed forever, kind of deal.
Yes, being captured by terrorists has given me a change of heart. It turns out.
Yeah. Oh fucking.
I feel like you would change your perspective on life if you were captured by terrorists.
I mean, yeah, I get. I'm not saying like that's the thing, but like what I don't understand is the fact like he changes his life, but at the same time he's still an asshole. Like he's still. He doesn't. He changes to an extent, but not to the extent that I imagine a like literally being locked in a dungeon extent would change you. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
it's more the idea that like he chooses to do good, but kind of only to do good in a way that benefits him. I feel like if you're locked in a dungeon and that kind of thing, and somebody saves your life like that, you're gonna sit there and be like, "Oh yeah, so like, let's just do good for the fact of doing good, rather than being like, let's do good to make myself look good." Though,
I mean, you gotta have a character arc for the sequels, though.
I-
You can't just have it all resolved in the first movie. But
so
I mean, it's also just interesting, just like the way you're saying how like having this sort of near-death experience in the hands of a force you don't really have control over. Like I feel like a normal person would have a much like bigger change in seeing like their powerlessness and stuff like that. But Tony Stark, made it in a cave with a box of scraps. So I feel like he, probably comes away with it being like, "Oh, I can solve these problems on my own.
oh, I am God.
Oh, yes, I am as fucking awesome as I think I am." But he's like, "Yo, maybe I shouldn't let these weapons get in the hands of these awful, awful people."
Who's the villain of that one? Was it just the Arms Dealer?
Yeah, it was the Ironmonger,
Oh right, I'm just very
legally distinct from Killmonger.
AKA
very-
the bald guy.
Obadiah Stane, Jeff
I'm very
Bridges.
foggy from this one. Wait, was it actually Jeff Bridges?
It was Jeff Bridges.
Didn't he play fucking what's his name's dad in Guardians of the Galaxy 2? Wasn't that Jeff Bridges again?
I don't think so. No,
What am I thinking of then?
I I can look it up. We have the infinite power
Yeah,
of
I'm like
Wikipedia
looking
right
it
at our
up.
fingertips.
What the fuck?
It was definitely not Jeff Bridges.
I guess not.
It was what? Kurt Russell. Kurt
Oh,
Russell was
very,
Ego.
very similar. Okay, but
Similar looking older white fellow. And also briefly I'm not whatever. Anyways, back to Iron Man.
I was very confused by it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I feel like Tony gets uh a lot of shit because like it's that pompous assholeness that people don't like about him.
I mean, yeah. It's also just kind of difficult to have Iron Man have like a complete change of character because like the snarky assholishness is kind of his character and what like you say that's what people don't like about him. I feel like in story that's what people don't like about him, but that's what a lot of people are here for is to see Tony go around snarking and being a jackass. So if they
Yeah.
have it completely changed to being like, "Oh, nice Tony now." It's like, well, no, now he's boring. So he still has to have some measure of edge.
Yeah. And I mean this is like this is the thing that like started the whole franchise basically.
Mhm.
Brought Marvel back onto the map and smacked it there and they were like, don't fucking stick. And the Incredible Hulk, which I don't fucking remember. I don't think I even watched it, honestly. I don't think we have much to say about that one.
It's an oddity. It's canon. It's accepted as being part of the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe, but they don't use anything from it. Not even the person who played Hulk.
Yeah. So this is the one that has the sad Hulk, right? The meme from it, joking background kind of thing.
I guess so. I don't.
Because the other one
Okay.
was the Ang Lee one that was not good at all. Then it goes on to Iron Man 2, which I think I think the Iron Man movies all like squished themselves together to me. What the fuck happened in Iron Man 2?
That was the one with Ivan Vanko, I think. Whiplash, Whip Man, and uh the
Turns out I may not have seen that movie actually. That might be another one on my list. That might be one of the 3 movies I haven't seen.
oh goodness,
The other one being
Weird.
Iron Man 3.
Great. We are exposed live on stream.
Two. Oh, is that the one? I don't remember anything about Iron Man 2. The only thing I remember about Iron Man 2 is that was the one where he kept having to like inject stuff into him, right?
Yeah, because his arc reactor is poisonous because it's like heavy metal.
Oh,
Right.
I did see that one.
Yeah.
I just don't remember it though.
Yep.
So then we move on to Thor, which let's just be honest. Like I love Thor. I love the shit out of Thor. This movie's boring as shit.
I mean, hence we come to the problem with some of the Marvel movies early on is that they all have to be origin stories originally.
They didn't hit their stride too. That was kind of the thing. Like they didn't really figure out what was going on.
Mhm.
Uh,
But he throws the cup at the ground.
what the hell were we talking about?
Thor. You're talking about how much
Taylor,
you're talking about how much you hate Thor.
Yeah, you're right.
and something about dropping a cup.
Oh yeah, because
Oh,
do you not remember that scene? Bring me
another smash.
Throws it on the ground.
I don't think. Hold on, I'll look it up. I'm sure there's like a 5-second video on YouTube of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's he drinks coffee, and since he's so used to being in Asgard or whatever, it's like it's like he drinks the coffee, and he was like, "Wow, this is good." Throws it on the ground, goes, "Bring me another," because apparently that's how it is. And then Natalie Portman's like, "You can't do that here. This is Earth. Learn things, alien boy." I think it's not that I didn't like Thor, because I like Thor. It's an okay movie. It's just I think the main thing is it ends up being a we've seen alien movies before, starting with basically E.T., and I think it's kind of like a fucked up version of E.T., if that makes sense.
Well, you mean as in like Alien comes to Earth does not blend in very well,
Yeah, that kind of thing.
except instead of being a normal alien, it's a space Viking.
Yeah, who they as a way to kind of describe it, which to be fair, I do actually like the description of how they like hide, how they like say like, oh, Asgard, crazy godlike people. It's like, well, they're actually aliens, and that's why they seem godly, and they came down once or twice before. Uh, um, and they like were like, oh yeah, well, they came down before, and the Vikings saw them, and they thought they were gods. I'm like, not a bad way to explain it, honestly. Like,
I like that.
it's like you could theoretically go with the whole. Would it be considered a conspiracy that would be like a thing, like a real life thing, to
Maybe
believe that religion is
I mean,
based off of space gods?
I guess. I mean, that is.
I don't know about conspiracy. Maybe just a theory,
That's true. Yeah.
a conspiracy theory. But
But I did like that as an explanation.
Mhm.
But and I mean you do get to see what is as I said before, like one of my favorite forms of mythology kind of being explained in a more unique way. It's probably been done before, but it's not like an instant oh hey, here we are, and we're gonna come up with some other reason, or they actually are gods, kind of thing. They're like, well, they're actually alien. Yeah, yeah. I already went over this. I'm just restating the statement I made before.
You're just repeating yourself.
I just like the fact that they took something new instead of just trying to make it stupid. Yeah, the beginning and then the beginning of the movie. This is also where I got my whole me calling Loki a whiny bitch. So it's like, you're adopted, and he's like, fuck you, Dad. And then that's where we get the problem with this movie.
Loki is a little bitch. That's why he's an antagonist.
Yeah, but like, I just wish it wasn't such a. I wish it wasn't such a whiny response.
Oh, the villain has flaws.
That's not what I meant. I think it's the fact that he's like, yeah, Daddy doesn't love me. It's like, okay. Also, the fact, I mean, it would suck figuring out that you were a fucking frost giant and your brother squishes your family all the time. Now that I think about it, I think he's actually justified. I take it back.
It's like, oh, I'm sorry, Loki.
I mean, I'm thinking a whole like racist thing now. It's just like, not that you would be able to hide it, but just like realizing that you're of another race, of the people that your family has been killing repeatedly.
He's like, oh, I'm a little blue boy, and turns out, oh goodness. And then he gets thrown into space at the end, and then he shows up again in Avengers as the main villain. Good job,
Yeah.
Loki.
Loki did it. Yeah. But it's also, I also think my favorite part is the fact that like I know that Asgard is supposed to be this place of aliens, but like when it comes down to like all the different people, there's the one guy where I'm like, you're fucking Japanese amongst the Norse people. Stop it.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I
Also Heimdall.
I genuinely forgot who that guy was in Ragnarok.
Yeah,
He
because
showed up and was like fighting against Hela. I mean, we can cover this more later, but I genuinely forgot who he was.
Yeah.
I forgot about the Warriors 3.
I just I just still thought it was funny too, because at one point in Thor 2, which again we're just like derailing this a lot, but in Thor 2, he's just like walking around and Thor just puts his head on his shoulders like, you're amongst your people. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Do you mean Asian people? Is that what's happening? I'm confused now.
It's fine.
Oh god.
So Captain America, yeah.
I mean, I was gonna say, so Thor in the
yeah.
end it's a good movie. I like it. So did Loki end up being the villain in Thor,
I mean,
or
it's
am I?
kind of yeah. I mean, he kind of has like a turnaround partway through it from being like on Thor's side to realizing what he is, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna take over now."
Yeah, I.
Oh, because like Odin does the sleep thing,
Oh yes, his
and
Odin
Loki's
slumber.
like, "Now's my chance," and tries to take over, and Thor's like, "No."
Because that I will say that I also like Thor as a character because I think he has the most growth out of all the Marvel characters. Because he goes from
Mm.
being I'm gonna squish the frost giants to I actually have character development. I'm like, oh shit, they actually like made him a real thing after a while. Because the first movie, he's definitely like Thor smash, and you're like, oh, don't Thor don't smash, which I'm actually sure is how Loki gets him in trouble in the first place.
Mhm.
He's like, why don't you squish that one over there? And they're all like, Thor, that'll get you in trouble. And he was like, I don't care, I'm gonna squish them. And you're like, stop squishing things, Thor.
Why do you keep using the word squish?
I don't know. It's more like shatter, but whatever. I like the
We're
word.
just walking around stepping on things.
No, he uses his hammer to squish them. Come on,
They're
Taylor.
they're giants. They're frost giants. How is he squishing them?
With his hammer. He brings down the hammer of thunder and squishes the boys. All right, we can move on to Captain America now. I'm sorry.
Okay, yes, please. Thor puts you in a weird place.
uh,
Because you keep trying to do Loki's voice and talking about squishing frost giants. Like, I can't handle this. This is not my contract.
It's too much for you. What contract? You act like I wrote something up for this. Legally binding. No.
Yeah, it's the one that says put the money in my hand and I signed on.
You signed it yourself.
Yeah, I wrote it and signed it myself. Anyways, Captain America. He's the first Avenger, despite all the ones that came before him.
He was the first, actually.
I mean, I guess chronologically.
He's the first.
See, the joke I made is stupid, so let's
Yeah.
just ignore that.
I got the joke, and then I immediately was like, I fucked up and squished. Damn it.
I squished the joke.
Please don't squish the joke.
Anyways, so that whole thing where they like put Chris Evans' head on a small boy's body fucked me up. I'm still not okay with it. Like, I'm still this. Somebody,
yeah.
Somebody played
George
the clip.
Lopez trained me for that day.
Somebody.
Wow, Scott reference. I remember that from George Lopez when they made him look like a kid. Just put George Lopez's head on a little boy's body, and that's Captain America for you. George Lopez technology. But yeah, it is funny that instead of, and also I guess appropriate since he's going to be, super hulked out Captain America for most of the film, that they have to CGI him to look smaller is just kind of silly, but I guess necessary.
I went back and watched
Chris Evans losing 130 pounds.
I went back and watched a clip of that, and I was just like, oh, this is unsettling. Oh, it was gross and weird. Yeah, this is like the weirdest thing about this one to me is the fact that Red Skull's the villain in this one, right? Or am I thinking of something else?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Red Skull's the villain in this. And then like Red Skull never makes a comeback, even though in any Avengers film past that he's a persisting villain. It's kind of like, all right, well, we killed him. And you're like, okay.
Oh, you mean in any sort of Avengers like
outside of this
comic book?
Yeah.
Okay, you said
Comic
film.
books.
I was like, I don't think there's been another Avengers film.
Comic books and like the animated movies, like he still persists as a villain. And you're just kind of like, what? And then he just dies, and you're like, oh, okay. I mean, I know the whole thing is like Hydra, and they cut off one head and two grow back.
When you cut off one red head, a bunch of other one. This metaphor has gotten away from me. I apologize because he's a skull and that's a head, but anyways.
Hydra's like whole color scheme is green, which also doesn't make sense to me. It's like, ah, yes, you have the fucking redheaded Nazi man. What's our color scheme? Green. Why not red? Because it's the color of your face. Green. All right.
I mean, it's not just Red Skull. It's the Captain America stuff also just kind of bothers me from a point with the Hydra stuff, just because like in like I believe it's Winter Soldier and stuff, they start really pushing the Hydra aspect, and it's like, oh, every bad thing has happened because of this secret organization who are like Nazis but not.
It's a secret organization of Nazis who are not calling Nazis for reasons.
The Nazis, if you will. Not Nazis.
God damn it.
The Nazi.
Oh. But not spelled like Notzi, spelled
No.
Not-Z.
Yes. Not Z.
Z's.
Anyways,
I
yeah.
feel like I don't remember much about this, other than the fact that like they basically took a young. Well, actually, no, I do remember a lot about this. That poor fucking boy got like basically just shown what consumerism and capitalism were at the same time. Like, we're gonna try this experiment on the scrawny boy because I don't know, he'd make a good test subject and no one would care if he died. And he ends up being successful, and they're like, what do we do with him now? It's like, well, let's fucking slap him in America gear and put him on everything.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean they didn't just pick him because no one will miss him if he dies. It's because instead of just being a big smart, I mean not a big smart, a big hulking soldier who's good at fighting, he like thinks outside the box and is really gonna do it.
Also,
And it
his
doesn't
dedication,
matter how strong he is. It doesn't matter how strong he is because they're gonna make him super strong.
and also
Regardless.
his dick for America is real hard.
Yeah,
Like,
he
he's got-
really likes America.
He's got the hardest dick for America. He's ready
Please
to
stop.
just go.
Please stop talking about Steve Rogers' hard dick.
Like, you don't want to think about that?
I don't.
You're wrong. That's okay.
I I guess I do then. You've shown me the way. Hell.
All right. So, anyways, yeah. I mean, I know it wasn't just because they like. I was making my own headcanon about that. I like to imagine that they were like, I mean, this boy seems to like America a lot, but like, also, would anybody really care if he died? And they're like, guess not. It's okay.
But Bucky would care if he died.
So we should also add the fact that I have a little bit of issues with Bucky and Cap's relationship, not because it's a problem, because Haley has a thing for it, and I'm like, stop, don't ship them, quit shipping them. I'm done with you shipping them.
Don't complain about your girlfriend's fan fictions on the podcast.
I'm gonna complain about my girlfriend's fan fictions on the podcast.
It's not. I mean, that's a pretty big thing with any sort of media in which I'm not going to get into it.
It's
Yeah,
more. It's more.
People of the same gender exist in the same space at the same time.
Yes.
It's less the idea that I don't agree with it, more the idea of I'm tired of hearing about it. It's like anytime that Bucky's mentioned now, I like wince a little bit. Like Bucky, and I'm like, anyways, so yeah, they got scrawny little shrimp boy and made him a beefy man cake, and I hear Taylor just like basically face palming in the distance.
Taking a shrimp boy and making him into a man cake.
No, a beefy man cake. Get it right.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, they made him into the beefy man cake, and then he became the symbol of America, which I still just like. I'm still just thinking that this was basically like the actual fantasy of the people who originally made Captain America, and like this is what they really wished had happened in real life.
I mean, yeah.
Because I mean, that's basically
the MCU bringing revisionist history straight to your doorstep. Captain America punches the Nazis to death.
more at 11.
Yes.
Yeah. Then big old beef boy fights the Red Gross Man, and man, I need to make like a thing where I just explain movies really badly.
Yeah, you're doing a great job so far.
But America Beef Boy, he fights the Nazi Red Boy, and the Red Boy's
Yep.
like, "Oh no, I've been defeated," and then and then he gets frozen, and it
Hmm.
leads to hilarity later in Marvel's The Avengers.
Yeah.
Great segue. I'm
Which.
good at these. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, in Marvel's The Avengers was the first time that we decided to bring a bunch of superheroes together. I'm pretty sure. So,
I
I
mean,
mean,
I think there are like little hints earlier on of like the heroes interacting, but yeah, this is definitely the big one where they all come together.
and
They fight.
Samuel Nick Fury is tired of these motherfucking Avengers on this motherfucking plane.
Yep.
I had to get it in there somewhere.
He can't be tired of them. He put them there.
Yeah, you're right.
You brought this upon yourself, Nick Fury.
I also remember like this is also the point when they like bring back Hulk and they're like, "Oh yeah, Hulk exists," and you're like, "Okay," and it's like it's Mark Ruffalo now. You're like, "What the fuck happened? Wait, what?"
How did he go from?
Whoever was playing him before to Mark Ruffalo. I was like, "What happened?"
Gosh, fucking gamma radiation really turns you from Edward Norton into Buffalo.
Did is this is Avengers is the movie where like the beginning kind of starts out with Scarlet Witch. I was thinking Scarlett Johansson.
Black Widow.
Black Widow is trying to search for Hulk, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
so
he's in like Brazil.
yeah, so I can imagine how fucking confusing that would be, especially like if somebody had watched The Incredible Hulk and been like, okay, that was a pretty cool movie. I can't wait to see him in it again. And then just suddenly it was like Mark Ruffalo. I'd be like, if I had watched the Incredible Hulk movie, I'd be like, what the fuck?
I mean, yeah, that's why they had that whole scene being like, "Oh, he's the Hulk. He's angry. Don't get him angry."
There's that. Then that happens.
Mhm. Yeah, that's the
This
only
is
thing that happens in the Avengers.
Mhm.
They find the Hulk.
this is one where this is the one where Loki comes to Earth and was basically like, well, Daddy said I couldn't be king, so I'm gonna be kings of you fucking plebeians.
Yep, and he gets the staff, and he gets the Tesseract, and he starts brainwashing people.
Oh yeah, and then basically made that one professor go insane.
Mhm.
From the Thor movies.
Yep.
And then this is like Hawkeye's appearance too, and then oh no, Hawkeye was in Thor,
Yeah.
but
That's what I
Hawkeye
was saying. That
basically,
there's like minor crossovers,
yeah.
but
Hawkeye gets to come back though, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Hawkeye, you're here to help," and it's like, "Oh yeah, Hawkeye, he's hypnotized. Damn it!" It's like
he's
great
hypnotized
movie.
for half the movie.
Yeah, you're like great movie. You brought in a character who could kind of be cool. It's like, no, we're just gonna hypnotize him and make a bad guy. And it's like Hawkeye really Hawkeye got the shit end of this stick though.
Yeah, I. It's the short end of the stick is
Shit
the
end.
phrase you're looking for, not the. Okay.
He got the short end of the stick. And but yeah, I think this is the kind of the first bit of Hawkeye just kind of getting shit on.
Yeah, I mean
He was okay in
he
Avengers 2. I don't think anything
yeah, he
bad
gets
really
better.
happened to him there. But like,
I mean, the biggest problem in this one is like he's not like in it for most of it, and then in the second half of the movie he does some cool things in the big New York fight scene, but then he runs out of arrows, and it's like, why didn't you bring more? This is your one thing.
the thing that makes the most logical
Captain America
sense.
doesn't run out of shield.
I mean, until later in the
Until
series when
someone-
somebody steals his shield.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, everybody gets hypnotized, and then Loki like tries to take over the world. Is mostly successful for a while, and he goes to Germany at that one point and wears this ridiculous helmet and just screams, "Bow down to me!"
Yeah.
And all the
And
people are like, "I guess we'll do that."
then the one old guy is like, I know you like the Nazis, but I'm not gonna say the Nazis. And then Captain America shows up.
I hate the Hydra thing in this because it's like it ends up being that thing where it's like it's gonna be too many villains. They killed it off, thank God.
Mhm.
But yeah, had they kept that in, they would have been like, all right, so now we're dealing with the Chitauri and fucking Thanos and the other boys. And it's like, stop, just chill, bruh. So yeah, basically the first part of this movie is everybody being like, should all get along and be friends, and everybody's like, psh, why'd I be friends with you guys? You're such fucking losers. I can do this by myself. And they get their ass kicked, and they're like, we should be friends, guys. Even though they don't necessarily.
Also, you're like, they're all like that, but it's like, it's mostly Tony.
Yeah.
Tony's the one being like, why do I have to work with you losers? I can do this myself.
I also just like that, like, in my years ago, out 6.
It was
Be like 16 or 17, probably
Yeah.
17 for you.
So like my 17-year-old brain being like the whole like still filled with testosterone and not whatever the moment
and
that,
not blood.
yeah, that the moment where Thor and Cap meet and Thor just like smacks his hammer down on Captain Shield. In my head, I was just like, oh yes, the mix of vibranium and adamantium, the fucking most indestructible shield ever. What happens when it comes against another indestructible item? And they basically just show giant fucking basically miniature explosion. And I was like, all right, 16-year-old, 17-year-old brain is happy about this.
Giant fucking miniature explosion.
Yeah, giant miniature explosion. I don't see what's wrong with this statement.
It's that's just a normal sized explosion then.
Is it though?
I don't actually care.
Yeah, and then was that this was the one too with the big bag of weed joke.
What?
They were talking about how Hulk calms himself. No, that's that is this one.
I don't know. I don't remember every individual joke.
Well, it's because everybody starts getting all mad at each other, and then like Loki's staff is in there, and everybody's like, "Yeah, no, this is this one." Oh, and Agent Coulson dies. But doesn't.
Except he doesn't. He doesn't die. He gets shunted into the TV series through magic.
Yeah, because I remember very distinctly. Like he gets shot, and I was like, he's dead. Okay, they actually killed somebody in an Avengers series. What the fuck? Because that didn't happen for a while. Thing. I mean, they killed people. Because like let's be honest. We're gonna talk about the point when we get to not Civil War, the one before it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just kind of funny because they definitely have this sort of policy where the movies can influence the various TV series like Daredevil and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff like that, but the TV series cannot at all impact the movies.
Yeah.
So stuff that happens in those doesn't show up in the movie. So you have this awkward situation where, like, if you just follow the movies, Coulson is dead. Like, he's gone. But if you watch the TV series, you know he's in the background doing stuff as well, and no one ever acknowledges that. So I don't know if they're ever gonna bring Phil Coulson up again, and have him like be mentioned, or if they're just gonna be like, oh yes, I remember Phil Coulson. He was a great hero. He really got us all going with his sacrifice, and just in the background you hear like, "Hey guys, I'm not dead." He's like, "Yep, I can still hear him now."
What was it? What was the explanation for him not being dead?
I haven't actually watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I just know he's in that.
Yeah, because
some sort of S.H.I.E.L.D. super technology brought him back from the brink of death.
Yeah, because that was like my big confusion. Is that they killed him? I was like, oh, he's dead. And they're like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I was like, oh, what's this show? And then Agent Coulson was there. Like, what the fuck? My brain does not comprehend. It's like, I want a good explanation for this. Don't give me half-assed answers.
I mean, there probably is. I haven't
half-assed.
seen it myself.
They're probably half-assed though. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They usually do that shit.
I mean, I've heard S.H.I.E.L.D. is good, and then it's bad, and then it's good again, and then it's bad again, and then it's good again. It's like a sine wave. of
Is-
quality.
Isn't that a lot of TV shows though? I mean, honestly, usually TV shows go through like if they're usually successful, the first season's really good, and then maybe like they're good for like another season, but then you get to season 3 or 4, or sometimes even 2, and it's like, oh god, they're shit again, kind of thing, and then it gets back to like, yeah, I know Community went through that, although because Community led to one of my favorite fucking jokes in Rick and Morty of the in the Hive Mind episode when
What? Why are we talking about Rick and Morty now?
just let me have this.
Okay,
Um,
you can talk about Rick and Morty.
But in that Rick and Morty episode with the Hive Mind, he's like, Rick's just like, he's like, all right, now cancel it. All right, now bring it back again. All right, now cancel it another time. Bring it back another time. All right, now make it go for 2 more seasons. Cancel it again. All right, now I'm bored. And it just goes to the thing, and it's just Community. Because that's exactly what happened to it. It was a derailment because of
Okay, so let's dial it back to Avengers. So you're talking about TV shows. You're talking about Agents of Shield. Talking about Phil Coulson. Phil Coulson dies in Avengers. Okay, continue from there.
Oh, okay. But so yeah, so this leads to, of course, I think the staple of most of the movies now, which is you get about an hour to an hour and a half of like heavy plot development, and then just the end of it is 45 minutes to 30 minutes of just straight action and nothing but action.
All right,
Which-
we have entered the fight session of the film. Please
Yeah.
keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times.
Yeah, so like you know at a certain point you're like, all right, so we're gonna have a lot of plot development, we're gonna have a lot of things that are like, trying to lead us up to this, show us what kind of things are gonna happen. Like we may have a fight scene here and there kind of thing. But sorry, excuse me. But we may have a fight scene here and there, but like mostly it's gonna be first 30 minutes, or first 30 minutes, first like hour and a half is going to be lots of development, lots of story. And the last, 45 minutes, we're just gonna fucking go balls to the wall. Everybody's gonna be punching everybody. Shit's gonna be happening. Giant space whales are gonna be coming from the sky, which I still don't understand. But whatever. The fucking Chitauri are like flying out of the space holes. Man, things are just happening, and you get the really cool Avengers pose. It's on a poster. Boy, was that a great moment, except for when Black Widow cocked her gun, and I'm like, what the fuck are you gonna do with that?
Why are you so fixated on Black
Because
Widow? Just let her be. She does a good job, and she fights well. Dude.
She fights great. She doesn't need the gun, and that's my whole point. Like, everything else about it's fine. She does a great job of fighting. She goes and she kicks ass. She steals the enemy's weapons and jumps on like the thing. But in the first shot, she just cocks a handgun. It's like, you're not gonna fucking hurt anybody with that. Maybe yourself, possibly Hawkeye. Who knows?
Just the only person there who's capable of being harmed by a handgun is Hawkeye.
It's true though.
Poor Hawkeye.
Oh god. Also, it leads to
We have fun here.
And also, I also remember that Black Widow gets the one fuck from the entire PG-13 rating, which is kind of like skimped over. But it's like at one point, I think she's riding the like motorcycle through the air and like maybe jumps on top of somebody else, and like right as they're about to explode into something else, and she just quickly goes fuck, and you're like, it's like a really quick, soft but fast fuck, and you're like, oh well, there's the one that they were allowed to use for this film.
Did you say fast or fast?
Fast.
Okay.
What does a vast fuck sound like, Scott?
That's why I wanted to know.
Yeah. I mean, they also got away with some really like harsh language with Loki as well, just because he's talking all Shakespearean.
And very angry and grumpy.
Yeah. Go look up the word quim. It's not very nice. It's not a nice thing to call someone. Loki. You jerk.
And then Thor brings them The end, everybody's like, we have a happy ending here. Nothing bad's ever gonna happen. Well, no, Tony almost dies. He flies into space and actually self-sacrifices for once.
But it's okay because he didn't die or even lose his super suit. Really,
Woman, where's my soup? That's not the right movie. Sorry.
that is no, that's a much better movie.
Speaking of which, the trailer for the second one came out recently. It's really good looking, so I'm excited.
Yep. This is an Incredibles podcast now.
Yeah, the fuck the rest of the Avengers. I said we're gonna do 3 parts to this one. We're doing all 3 parts are just gonna be the Incredibles from now on.
Look forward to it. Yeah, the whole Tony having to take the nuke into space is kind of odd to me, considering Civil War's whole thing is like, not to get too much into Civil War, but just kind of addressing sort of the end of this movie. It's funny how the World Council's whole problem is like the collateral damage caused by the Avengers, when in the first movie they just wanted to nuke New York in order to stop the alien invasion. Like, I don't care how fucking destructive the Hulk is. Like, at least there's something left standing when he's done.
Well, this also leads to one of my favorite things in superhero films that's never mentioned. They fucked up that city, and nobody ever talks about it.
I mean, they talk about it in the TV series.
Don't talk about the. I'm not considering the TV series canon as much as it is canon.
It is canon. It's just it can't influence the movies because that would be an additional thing you'd have to watch to understand it. They don't want that much. So what did Jessica Jones do?
I don't know. Luke Cage did some stuff too. I
actually really like most of the Netflix series, but it's
haven't seen them.
It's definitely at a different level than.
Haven't seen them, but not for the chance of like not wanting to. I do want to see them. I don't have time right now.
Yeah, don't watch Iron Fist. It's not very good.
It sucks because I really like Iron Fist.
He's very silly.
Which has one of my favorite jokes about he has one of my favorite jokes, which is basically like they should have just called me like Dragon Punch or something like that. Because it's like
Iron Fist.
They're like his name's Iron Fist, and like his whole thing is he's like the power of a dragon or something in his hand, and they're just like Iron Fist. It's like okay, whatever.
I want to be Dragon Punch.
Like Dragon Heart or some bullshit like that. Yeah, but anyways, so yeah, they have Iron Man does his big I'm gonna fucking sacrifice myself to the world. Yeah, fuckers. And then he like dies, but everybody knows he's not gonna actually die because it's the first Avengers movie.
Well, yeah, he literally falls out of the space hole and is like, "I'm fine." He's not even unconscious.
Oh, he was unconscious.
Briefly, and then Hulk yelled at him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm awake now."
he landed on the ground, and he was like, they were like, "He's dead," and they have this dramatic moment where they're like, "Oh no, he might actually be dead," and then Hulk lets out his fucking war screech of sadness, which is I'm pretty sure is probably what is exactly written on the script.
Mm-hmm.
War screech of
sadness.
And then he wakes up and talks about
going on the band name list.
War screech of sadness. What do they play?
It's
post-hardcore, but only really depressing post-hardcore.
I don't know what post-hardcore is.
Oh no, man! There are so many genres that don't make sense to me.
It is an actual genre.
It is.
Goodness, I thought you were making that up.
No, I'm not. Basically, you could put like any 2 names together, and it's probably a genre.
Like shoegaze is a genre.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. I don't know what that sounds like, but it sure is a fucking shoegaze. So, yeah.
Noise make when you gaze into a shoe.
Again, fucking space whales happen. So, like, I don't know what the hell those are supposed to be.
Space whales.
Also, I think amongst our friend group, the first Avengers movie probably brought our most quoted line.
What is
and a lot of people's most quoted line. That's my secret, Captain.
Oh, that's everyone's. Why?
I've never heard anyone in our friend group say that.
Have you not?
No.
Oh my god. I mean, Mitchell and I use it constantly for one.
Or that's my secret blank. I am always blank.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, if you you've probably heard me say it before and just didn't
Well,
think about
I
it.
thought the quote just ended at "That's my secret, Captain." And
Oh
then
no, that's my secret, Captain. I'm always blank.
that's right. Okay, now I remember the quote.
Yeah. Yeah. So need you to get angry, Banner. That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry. And then that never comes up again. Like they never yeah.
I mean, Hulk goes through some shit in
He
the later movies that makes his self control kind of go all to hell.
Well, I mean, like the self control, yeah, but it's just like the fact that like he's constantly in the anger state and can't just be like, all right, well, I'm already angry. Let's just turn into fucking Hulk. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do find it kind of strange because like Mark Ruffalo is not a very angry seeming person when he's playing Hulk. He mostly just seems kind of
Spastic.
scared. Yeah, I always find it funny earlier on when they're all arguing, and because the staff is in the room and they're all fighting and stuff, and then they just kind of turn to Banner because he spoke up and they're like, "You need to calm down," and he's like the calmest person in the room.
Yeah.
It's like, and Hulk's just like, "Please stop yelling at me. I'm not angry." But then he like has the staff randomly. It's like, oh, maybe he was angry and didn't realize it.
I do feel bad for Banner though, because Banner like just wants to be there to help because he's a scientist and all that, and everybody's like, we need the big green guy, and they're like, he's like, I don't want to fucking turn into the big green guy. They're like, we need the big green guy. Guys, no.
No, seriously, this is the crux of my whole character. How much I don't want to do this. We need you to do it though.
Also, the fact that like people also seem to severely misunderstand the fact that like Hulk is literally anger itself. Like it is the physical embodiment of just pure rage. And I think they actually went over that in there's a animated one where it's like Hulk versus Thor, I think is what it's called. And the main problem with that one is a magical being literally separates the entity that is the Hulk from the entity that is Bruce Banner. So basically, you have Hulk without Bruce Banner in the back of his head being like, you need to not squish everybody. And it's basically just Hulk as the like embodiment of rage, just sheer anger, running around rampaging.
He's gonna punch it.
He's gonna fucking punch all the boys.
It's always struck me as kind of odd in these movies how the Hulk is like the end all be all. He's like the strongest one, and like he's just an irradiated guy. Like, why is he so strong?
Or like I heard
Why is he
somebody-
basically invincible? Why is everything in the universe weaker than the Hulk?
Or like I heard somebody arguing in Ragnarok when he jumps off of the ship and smacks onto Bifrost. You've seen Ragnarok, right, Taylor?
Oh yes, I saw it with you.
You did. I went to go see it twice. That's why I didn't remember. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went to go see it on my birthday because that's when it came out, and then like also, but yeah, so so yeah, when he like smacks down, like somebody was talking about, they're like in all any situation, he's not the Hulk. There isn't necessarily like sure there's probably some sort of like magic that they have to explain it, but like he is a human being just dropped from a giant height and smacked on a thing. He's dead. And he gets all angry and turns to the Hulk. It's like, yeah, I don't understand either.
No, that's funny though.
It's like, I mean, it was funny. It was one of the funniest parts of the movie. But like,
pratfalls are inherently funny,
but it was more
especially if they should be deadly.
Yeah, it was more just the fact that like he falls down and then they're just like, it's just like he's just dead now. It's like, nope, he turned into the Hulk. Never mind. All of his bones are also fixed instantly. So, yay! Yeah. So.
Yeah, we can talk more about Ragnarok when we get to that one.
Man, I'm fucking excited.
Yeah.
I can't wait until the next phase is got some good. No, it has some actually. It has one of the best. And I guess depending on, let's see, it's 2 weeks the podcast should be from now, so theoretically, we might have all, probably not all, but we'll have the ability to have all seen. So we might be able to talk about Infinity War a little bit, and then move into Phase 2. We'll see how that goes.
Well, we really did not space this out correctly.
No. Because I didn't even think to do this until like the beginning of this week, and I was like, "Ooh, this would actually be a really cool idea to do." So,
because we're gonna briefly talk about Infinity War, and then talk about Phase 2.
or we could go Phase 2, Phase 3, and then talk about Infinity War, since Infinity War is part of Phase 3. That might make more sense.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll figure it out. It's all up in the air. We do plan some things, but not a lot of things. So for all the listeners, we do put out the episodes. We try to put out episodes every 2 weeks. As best the schedule. I didn't post last week's I didn't post last week's on time because I recorded it, and then immediately, like 2 days after I recorded it, I had to move. So all of my computer equipment was packed into a box, and I was like, all right, great. No, that's not getting edited anytime soon. Also, you can follow us on SoundCloud. It is soundcloud.com/FFOF_podcast. And I upload there. I try to do it every Monday after we record these things on Saturday, which we do live on Twitch every other Saturday. And yeah, trying to think if there's anything else any other. I'm also trying to be more active on my Twitter and my Instagram now, which is also where you can follow that to see if you want to get updates. I will try and keep track of my Twitter so that I can update people more often and basically say
Twitter.
So
I didn't know you had a Twitter.
You, yeah, is Chaitnamy, so CH8TNAMMY, and I'll try and be a little bit more active on there to say, hey, informing if I have issues of not being able to record or whatever. Is there anything else that I need to like throw out there since I've already hoard myself out enough?
I don't know, man. This is your pony show. I don't know what I'm doing here.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think. Oh yeah, we're also on iTunes. That was the other one.
That's important.
Yeah. I mean, sure. So if you are a Apple user and decide you want to listen to this at some point, you can go there and rate us, give us 5 stars, make us popular on there so that other people will listen to it. And I'm not just doing this talking to like 3 people, but yeah. And for anybody still watching this on Twitch, I will try and be more avid about streaming just in general. I've had a very busy semester in school, so it's been very, very hard to find a consistent time to, but school's going to be done in like 2 weeks. So, but I think outside of that, thanks everybody for listening, and back in like 2 weeks to talk about Phase 2 of the Marvel Universe.
Oh boy, I can't wait to talk about Ant-Man.
Hey, I actually really liked Ant-Man, so fuck you. Yeah, so thanks everyone. This has been Logan, Scott, and Taylor, the Flask Full of Failure podcast. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.